Hello people, I'm the Comic Book Gamer, and today I'm going to be counting down my top 10 favorite comic book artists of all time. Last year I did a countdown of my top 10 favorite writers, and a lot of you guys want me to do a follow-up of my favorite artists, so now I'm going to be doing that. So I want to know in the comments below also what are your guys' top 10 favorite writers, because this is just all my opinion. And also with how I'm going to be doing this list is when I count them down, I'm also going to be telling you guys my favorite piece of work of theirs, so it's all in terms of art. So it could be like a terrible story, but the art's really good. But all these are actually good books, so I'm not going to be like saying any bad stories. But anyways, yeah, the point is there could be a book that they worked on that was way better story wise, but I think this was where they peaked with their art. So yeah, anyways, let's start off at number 10. We got Jason Fabok, who's sort of newer around comics now. Like for the last couple of years he's been making a name for himself, especially when he like moved from like Detective Comics to Justice League, and he did some amazing stuff. Like that's how I first found out about him, was when he came on for the story that was like right before Darkseid War, and Darkseid War is my pick for his best work so far. He's done great. He hasn't had a drop off or anything, but I loved his art in Darkseid War. He did amazing, and I feel like his strengths are definitely like Superman, Wonder Woman, and Hal Jordan. I feel like those are like the best that he drew. He drew everyone amazing in Justice League, but to me those were like his best. He draws my favorite Wonder Woman, I'd have to say. Like it's just amazing, and I've just like found out about him right before Darkseid War, and he's already on my top 10. That's how good this guy is. Like he hasn't been around for too long as far as like, you know, for me. I know it was like other people may have known him from like the beginning of his career, but for me I didn't find out about him till like right before Darkseid War, and he's done some amazing stuff, and he's become like a premier artist at DC, and for good reason. And he's doing some great stuff right now. I can't wait to see him on more stuff and just see like him expand. I'd love to see him draw Deathstroke. Like I think that would be awesome. That's someone that I'd really love to see him draw, because I don't think he's drawn Deathstroke yet as far as I know. So I think it'd be awesome to see him draw Deathstroke, and that's just what I'd really love to see. But yeah, it's gonna be cool to see him go all around the DC universe and draw different characters and see his interpretations of them. I can't wait. At number 9 we've got Jock. Now Jock is an artist that's sort of a particular taste. Some people love his art, some people not so much. He's not someone who I'd want for like certain characters. Like say, I don't think he'd be too good on a Green Lantern book or something like that, but he is great for sort of that creepy dark vibe for like Batman, which he fits perfectly. But he also did good for like the last issue of Superman American Alien. He did good. I liked what he did there. I wouldn't want him as like a regular on a Superman book, but he did do pretty good there. And for Batman, he is just absolutely perfect. He fits that dark gritty world Batman. He also did some great stuff with like with Green Arrow Year One. He was great on that. And just yeah, Jock has a very unique style that takes some getting used to. Like some people may not like it, but I personally love it. I think it fits a character like Batman absolutely perfectly, and my pick for him is Batman the Black Mirror, which also happens to be my favorite Bat book. It's great and I absolutely love it, and it's like he is just perfect in this book, especially like whoever does the colors in that book. Also, it's Francesco Frenezia. I don't know. I think it's I don't know how to say the name, but I believe he did the colors, or he's the inker. Either way, something like that. Anyways, yeah. The colors in this book mixed with his art is fantastic. I love it, and especially the ending is like so creepily done with the art. He also did some great stuff with witches, which is very creepy, but yeah, his art fits perfect with that sort of like dark gritty creepiness, and he does a great job with it, especially since this is more of like a detective sort of thriller book. So he did amazing with it, and Jock is definitely one of my favorite artists. Then at number 8 we have Ethan Van Sciver, who's mainly known for Flash and Green Lantern, and for good reason, because he's great drawing both of those guys. Personally, he's probably my favorite Green Lantern artist. He does amazing on Green Lantern, and my favorite work from him is Green Lantern Rebirth. He did amazing. This is bringing Hal Jordan back, and I wouldn't have anyone bring him back other than Ethan Van Sciver. Like his art was so fantastic, and I love just the way he draws all the different creations that Hal makes and everything. He does great with it, and his art is very pretty, and also like just the way he does Flash as well is fantastic. That's why it was hard choosing between this or Flash Rebirth for which one I thought his art was better in, but I prefer him on Green Lantern than Flash, so that's why I chose this. But yeah, Ethan Van Sciver, it was very hard not to put him up higher on the list, but he definitely deserved a spot on here. He's one of my favorites. Next up at number 7 is David Aja, or Aja, or however you pronounce his name. His last name is AJA, so it could be pronounced any number of ways, but either way, I'm just gonna go with Aja. So yeah, David Aja is a fantastic artist. I first found out about him on Matt Fraction's run on Hawkeye, and it was amazing. I've also seen him in other stuff, like in the Immortal Iron Fist. He did some amazing stuff. he is one of the most creative when it comes to like panel layouts, in my opinion. I love the way his layouts are, like they look amazing and they're so creative and they're so cool. Like just look at like there was a short story, I believe it was in Daredevil 500, where it was like, you know, it was like a huge issue and they just had a number of different artists on there, and there was a short story in there called like Three Jacks, and it was Daredevil versus Bullseye, and I absolutely love the way his art is in there. It's definitely one of my favorites. But as far as his my favorite art of his, it'd probably be in Hawkeye and just the Hawkeye run. Like he did amazing in all of it, and I love the different colors and like the setups, especially the part where Hawkeye, like he doesn't have his hearing aid here, so he like has to sign with his brother and stuff, and it's like so interesting and it's just so cool and so well done. Again, he's very creative with his like panel layouts and how everything's done. I just love it, and his art is just amazing. At number 6, I've got George Perez, a very classic artist who's done a lot of great stuff, and for me, my personal pick for his best is one of the best graphic novels of all time, which is Teen Titans Judas Contract, and he draws the first ever Nightwing. We get to finally see Nightwing, so yeah, I think that's pretty cool. He drew Nightwing's first ever suit, that like classic 80s looking suit. That was George Perez, and I love it, and his art is fantastic. And I also got to meet George Perez at a con, and he was really cool. And so yeah, just George Perez is a great artist. I love the way his art looks, and he's a classic artist, and I like this list is definitely a mix of like newer people and classic artists, and he is one of my favorite classic artists, and he's just great. And there's not really much to complain about. Just everything looks really nice and smooth and well done and very polished. I just loved his art. It's great. At number 5, I have Steve McNiven, who is my favorite Wolverine artist of all time. It was hard. It was between him or Ron Garney, but at the end of the day, I went with Steve McNiven. He's an amazing artist, and he's definitely my favorite Wolverine artist. He's done some work on some classics like Civil War and Old Man Logan. Old Man Logan is definitely my choice for his best work. Probably my favorite piece of art in that is the whole sequence when Wolverine is killing the X-Men. We get to see how truly brutal Wolverine can really be when like an artist like Steve McNiven is unleashed and can do whatever he wants and can really show how brutal Wolverine is. And like when he's just hacking and slashing people, it's like just damn, this is brutal, and it's just so beautifully gory the way it looks, and he does some amazing stuff in there, and it looks so great. He also did The Death of Wolverine, which is, he really elevated that book, because the writing in that book by Charles Soule is good, but it's nothing special, it's nothing great. Like The Death of Wolverine isn't what you really want from The Death of Wolverine. It's nothing like amazing, it's not like a great send-off for the character. It's good, there's by no means bad, but it's good, but the art elevates it to another level, because Steve McNiven does such a great job. Like that's the only reason I've gone back and reread that book, is to look at Steve McNiven's art. He does such a great job, and he's so fantastic, and Old Man Logan is definitely his best work in my opinion. At number 4, I have John Byrne, who is another classic artist and writer also. Like he drew and wrote a lot of the books he was on, which is like amazing, and like I can't believe he did that. Like that's so talented to be able to do both at the same time for the book you're on, to be able to draw and write. That's just insane to me. I can't imagine how he did that, but he did that a lot. He did it some for Superman, he did it for X-Men, he did some just great stuff, and a lot of legendary stuff like Dark Phoenix, and bringing Superman back and like modernizing Superman more, and which was really cool. And I loved his run on Superman, both art and writing wise, and his art is very much like the sort of classic Superman that you think of nowadays, and he nailed it. He draws like pretty much the perfect Superman. I absolutely loved it, and just yeah, John Byrne's one of my favorites. At number 3, I've got Andreia Sorrentino, who is currently my favorite artist to look at right now. Like I love his art. He's not my favorite of all time, that's why he's number 3, but currently, at the current moment, he is my favorite artist, the one that I look more forward to most looking at his art whenever I pick up a new issue. He was on Old Man Logan, now he's off. Him and Jeff Lemire run, but their run just ended, and they were great on that. And I first found out about them during their Green Arrow run during the New 52, which saved Green Arrow and the New 52, because Green Arrow and the New 52 absolutely sucked, and they came on and made it amazing. And that's my pick for my favorite work from him, is his run on Green Arrow with Jeff Lemire. It's just fantastic. Jeff Lemire's writing is amazing, but his art is so like just perfect, and I absolutely love it, and it's so unique. I hadn't seen anyone like draw like this before, and I talked about David Aja's panel layouts, how amazing they are. Andreia Sorrentino's panel layouts are like next level. I haven't seen anything like it. It's amazing. And also the way he like uses color, the way he changes colors to emphasize certain things, and the way his layouts are is amazing. I know he doesn't do the colors for it, someone else, but he also does help with the colors. Like it's not all him, it's someone else like doing the main colors, but he also helps with it. But I'm assuming it's up to him for like this is gonna be red, there's gonna be like, he's the one who chooses what's gonna be what color. But anyways, yeah, the way he emphasizes things with color and how his layouts are is just like beautiful, and I haven't seen anything like it, and I just absolutely love his art. And like I said, in this Green Arrow run, that's probably his best work, and he's still doing amazing work right now. At number 2, I've got Jim Lee. Jim Lee is a classic artist that's been doing a bunch of things. Like in the 90s, he did X-Men, and his art has sort of evolved to be a lot cleaner than it used to be. Like in the 90s, it was very 90s looking art and a little bit more messy, but now it's a lot cleaner. And I know he did do some rough stuff like with Suicide Squad. I saw some of the Suicide Squad art for when they brought that back for Rebirth, and I was like, that doesn't look like the Jim Lee I've gotten to know over the past couple years, but he has done some amazing stuff like All-Star Batman and Robin. That book is absolutely terrible, but Jim Lee's art in that is some of his best work ever. It's amazing, and he's done a lot of great stuff like Hush, which is one of his best books and probably the best book that he was ever on, in talking about him and a writer. But me personally, my favorite art of his is in Superman for Tomorrow. Now, Superman for Tomorrow, the book itself is like okay, it's not that good, there's nothing really special about it, some of Brian Azzarello's weakest work, but the art in here is fantastic and so clean and just amazing looking, and the way he draws Superman is great. My only problem with it, I didn't care for his design of Zod. Like I didn't like his design of Zod. It wasn't for me. It looked kind of stupid. Zod looked like an old crazy scientist. I just didn't care for it. But the overall art was fantastic, and it's just so pretty to look at. Like, that's one thing about Jim Lee compared to other artists. It's like so much of his art I feel like I could just stare at like all day. I could just have like a poster of it on the wall or something and just stare at it all day because it looks that good. And at number 1, I've got Gary Frank. Gary Frank is just my favorite Superman artist of all time, and Superman's my favorite character, so he's kind of by default my favorite artist. I love Gary Frank. He does so much great work. He's going to be doing the art for Doomsday Clock along with Jeff Johns writing, and those two together are my favorite creative team. I love them. They've done a lot of great stuff for Superman, and I can't wait. And also with Batman Earth 1, they also teamed up, and Gary Frank has done so much great stuff, and his just art looks so pretty and just beautiful and just so amazing to look at. I absolutely love it. Like, just look at these covers for New Krypton and tell me that that stuff isn't just like mind-blowingly like beautiful. Just look at it. Like, that art is so amazing. I absolutely love looking at it, and he draws my favorite Superman. I love the way he draws everyone in Superman's world. Like, I love the way he draws Superman, the way he draws Jimmy Olsen, the way he draws Lois Lane. My favorite work of his, it's hard to choose. Like, I was like Superman Secret Origin, maybe Superman Brainiac, there's so much stuff, but I ended up on Superman Legion and the Legion of Superheroes, which is an amazing book, but it was so hard to choose. Like, it really could have been any of them. I barely chose this one, mainly because like the final fight with Earthman, I love the way that art is, and also seeing a bit of a more bloody Superman, because Superman loses his powers in this book, and so that was probably why I chose this over anything else, because I like seeing him draw like a bit of a bloody Superman at times. So yeah, just Gary Frank, he's fantastic. If you haven't like seen any books with him in it, then definitely go read them, because his art is fantastic, and if you, by the pictures I put on screen, you haven't been convinced, then I don't know what will. Anyways, yeah, those are my top 10 favorite artists of all time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments below what are your top 10 favorite artists of all time, of comic book artists, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.